Hello, and everybody. Hello, and everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Ozzy, and I have with me
Rogue.
Yes, the most rogue of all raptors, and we're talking about all the Bowser Castle Mario Kart themes. That is a bit of a mouthful, but if you're tracking with me, we're basically taking all the music from all the Mario Kart games, and we're basically comparing them up against each other and seeing which one really comes out on top. Now we're doing the super trendy thing of putting it on a tier list, and so people don't have hurt feelings of like somebody having, their favorite Mario Kart game, Bowser Castle theme, in 8th.
No,
So-
people are gonna be offended. That's why we're doing a tier list.
Well, that's why we don't have it in. We don't have like an F tier, so we won't hurt your feelings too much if somebody
we're
like a
still
weirdo
out
likes
here
it.
to like ruin your childhood
No,
and destroy your
What
nostalgia
are you
for
doing?
games because some of these themes are objectively bad.
yeah, okay, that's true.
Okay, let's dive into it.
Okay, so the first one that we have up,
We're ranking it last place.
yes, we're ranking Mario Kart 64, its particular Bowser Castle theme in last place for good reason.
Just take a listen. It's slow.
It's so slow, it doesn't evoke anything like when you're racing. Like, I feel like when you're racing, you want something that's fast.
Yeah,
like
you want
upbeat.
something that's fast. It nailed the creepy, but there's no pizzazz. And I think when we're looking for a Bowser Castle theme, we want two elements. We want it to be catchy, like Bowser, but a little bit of scariness thrown in there.
Yeah.
Because you're not completely comfortable being in the same room as Bowser. You're always a little bit on edge.
Yeah.
But this theme just, the vocals, it's too much.
Yeah. I just think that the Mario Kart 64 theme is just too slow. It's too clunky. It's too creepy, honestly.
Yeah, it's too creepy.
And Bowser is supposed to be, he's a father. He's not going to be too creepy for his
Yeah.
child, I'm going to go ahead and, if I could.
Put that one quite unceremoniously.
So yeah, it goes in D tier. If we had an F tier, N64 would go there. Okay, nothing doing, pal. I'm sorry. That's just simply the way it is. So up next, we have, and this is this is going in not really chronological order. It's just kind of in really no order. GameCube, Double Dash. Take a listen.
This one clocked in at 7th place.
In our preliminary rankings. It's much like the N64 theme, it's a little too slow. And a little too creepy too, I think still. Which is weird. Like, I like the organs because it kind of gives it's weird saying this, but like a little more of a lightheart theme.
Yeah, it's a little comedic.
Yeah, but the vocals definitely put it being way too creepy.
Yeah, there's too many vocals. I don't know what these early composers' obsessions with synth vocals was, but it's just too much for Bowser.
It's too much for Bowser, and it's too much for a lot of people, quite honestly. So, N64, I'm going to go ahead and... What do you think? D tier, C tier? What do you think?
I think it should go in D tier, but right above N64.
Yeah.
Because it is better than N64.
It is better. It's
not by
listenable.
much.
It's listenable.
It still sounds like the little brother of N64. That's just a little bit better, but not by much. They still had the same parents.
It's probably... it's probably what a lot of people would say about the consoles themselves, honestly.
Hey now, come on. The GameCube was a huge improvement from the N64.
That is true. It gave us Sunshine. Sorry,
They gave us really good graphics for
Yeah.
the first time
Yes.
on a Nintendo console.
I'm
That
gonna-
was when they were still trying to compete.
I know I'm going to get absolutely slayed for saying that, by the way, in all the comments.
Oh, yeah, you
saying
totally
that it gave us Sunshine, because everyone hates Sunshine.
Except for you, you're the weirdo that actually likes that game.
I
Even though
do.
you've never played it.
I have never played it, but I like it.
I hate it because I've played it, and I know objectively it is a bad game.
But so is N64. Mario 64.
Yes. Yes, Mario 64 is also really bad because it's just so old.
We'll get into that in future podcasts. So stay tuned, peoples, if you want to hear our discussion about why Mario 64 is technically the worse game than Sunshine, even though Sunshine is basically...
Well, there's
Mario
a bit
64
of
is
nuance
unplayable.
there. There's a bit of nuance there.
Mario 64 is unplayable. Sunshine is just unbeatable.
Well, I give N64 grace because it's so old. Sunshine, on the other hand, there's very clearly things that the game developers could have done to make the experience more enjoyable for the gamer that did not in any way was limited by the capabilities of the hardware. No. Like with the N64, I felt like, okay, it feels this way because it was the first 3D game that Nintendo had made for Mario.
Right.
Actually, I think it was the first 3D game they had ever made. So I gave it grace, but when Sunshine came along, I was like, come on, guys. Some of these levels, you knew what you were doing. You had to have had some idea of what you were doing.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing too is you probably want to extend it just a little bit of grace because it was during the early 2000s. We were just coming out of the 90s era where it was like arcade was all the rage and it was just everything was ridiculously hard.
I get that, but off topic.
So for Mario Kart Wii, go ahead and take a listen here. Instantly, that first little bit immediately makes me think I'm in a level, like actual Mario Kart, like side-scrolling level, which is kind of weird. But it starts out strong. I mean, it's kind of got its own little theme. It definitely has its own identity from the other two. And it's not bad. It's still a little slow for my liking.
Yeah, it needs a little bit more in the drums area.
Yes. And unlike the other previous two Mario Karts, we actually have played this version's Mario Kart. So, like, basically we're kind of judging off, like, what actually fits the track.
Yeah. And the track is intense.
Yes.
So, this part, it's good.
Yeah.
And then it... What the heck? Like, what's a 180? The first part started out strong. The beat could be stronger, but it had a good tune, and the organs doubled down, and then this part hits, and you're just like, what's happening? Is Bowser watching It's a Wonderful Life, and he's crying right now? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, because it's almost like, I think you described it once when we were ranking this, like, a while ago. You said it almost sounds like a wedding song for Peach and Bowser. Like, it just sounds wrong. It just does not fit.
It sounds nuptial. Strangely nuptial. And that should not be a word that comes to your mind when you're thinking of a Bowser Castle theme.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
I feel as though I might have our first disagreement with our old ranking.
What, you think?
I think Wii is worse than GameCube. Can we listen to GameCube again? I need to remember.
Really?
But I think I might have just changed my mind.
I think the thing is, here's my complaint. Double Dash, too slow, and it repeats itself too much. Wii at least has its own
of the hardware.
Right. But Wii at least has its own identity. And at least it gives you something to think about, even if it is bad.
Mm-hmm.
GameCube, there's just nothing there. It's just bad.
But I feel as though the vocals are not as bad as the strings in Wii. I'm sorry, it's just Wii's strings. It's so out of left field.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna play it one more time for you. Like, you're gonna discredit all of that good stuff at the very beginning of that song.
This beginning part is really good, but then that second act hits, and it's just...
Yeah, I know it's bad, but I still feel like it's not as bad as GameCube. Like, this does not...
Listen to it. It's so weird.
Love covers a multitude of sins, okay?
I have no love for this. Therefore, no sins are being covered.
Okay, maybe in a strictly just numbering rating, this would be debated. However, we have a tier list ranking. I think it's still C.
Yeah.
It still brings it
okay,
down, but it's still better than the garbageness of the slowness of the other two. Courses.
I mean, it's tough because that beginning part of Wii is like the making of possibly the best Bowser Castle.
I would argue
like it's dramatic. It's got movement. It's got almost like it sounds like it has an objective in mind. And then the second act hits, and it's so bad. If that second act was different, then Bowser Castle could have taken first. So for that, I'll leave it in C tier because it had potential, but then it just dropped the ball.
Right. So we're gonna listen to Wii U and or Mario Kart 8.
This is a controversial opinion.
Yes.
Because so many YouTubers out there have made ranking videos giving this Bowser Castle theme glowing reviews.
Yes.
Saying that it's jazzy, it's rock, it's everything that Bowser is supposed to be. But I would counter that with there's no elements of fear anywhere in this song. Like, at no point in this song are you feeling like, oh my gosh, I could fall off the side of the track, or like, oh my gosh, there's a giant rock lava Bowser in front of me.
Right.
Like, this song does not mirror the map in any way, because the map itself is somewhat challenging.
Yes.
But this song just, it's not...
No.
It's not there.
It doesn't fit the course. I understand the motif that Mario Kart 8 was trying to go for, making it more jazzy.
But, like, they could have deviated just a little bit here. Throw some organs in there.
Yeah.
Throw some piano or something in an interesting sort of unsettling riff or chord progression. Just something. There's just... I have no fear. Like, I literally have no fear listening to this.
It's like Nintendo was like, all right, we're going to be in control of a Captain Crunch cereal. Oops, all jazz. And they decided to make this entire thing like completely jazz and just 0% Bowser.
Yeah.
There's no redeeming Bowser-y qualities of this at all.
Yeah, not much.
It's kind of sad because like in a modern Mario Kart game, you would think that it would definitely be
better.
Yeah.
Or the best that it could be.
Yes. You think that it would only get better from here on out.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't hate it enough to put it below any of the other ones. It's still snappy. It's still quick.
Yes.
It still at least kind of gives some sort of Bowser-y feelings, and I will give it this, that the jazz especially kind of emotes a lot of the feelings we got from Super Mario 3D World, where we had...
Super Mario 3D World's Bowser World.
Yes, theme.
That theme was incredible, and it was almost entirely jazz. So we can't really fault this one too much for just being completely jazz.
Yes, but...
So I think we should put it in a tentative B spot.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it just misses the mark just a little bit when it comes to Bowser.
Yeah.
So I don't enrage all of our Mario Kart 8 fans out there who like this music. So we're going to move on to Mario Kart DS. And we place this one in 4th place, so above Mario Kart 8. But give it a listen and tell us your thoughts down in the comments.
Oh, that bass.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Now, forgive us, we are a bit suckers for Mario Kart DS music.
Yeah, it's music as a whole. We love the bass in every single song.
It's superior.
And also, I could be having a bit of bias because this reminds me heavily of the Airship Fortress remaster in Mario Kart 7.
Oh, yes.
Which was my home console to begin with, the 3DS.
The first Mario Kart you ever played.
No.
We both played.
No. Super Circuit was the first Mario Kart that I ever played. But like the first Nintendo console that I owned was the 3DS.
Right.
So it is a little bit nostalgia driven because those synth vocals are reminding me of Airship Fortress. But nonetheless, the driving bass is just so good.
It is good. So for this Mario Kart DS one, I really like it. The only problem I have with it, much like GameCube, Mario Kart DS is a lot. It kind of repeats itself. It's not necessarily something that I kind of go back to and listen to and think, oh, this is really creative. It's got its own identity. DS music does. Don't get me wrong on that. DS music definitely does have its own identity. However, Mario Kart DS Bowser's Castle seems to kind of repeat itself a little bit over and over and over. It is a lot more fast-paced.
I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Do you think because of Mario Kart DS's identity and its sort of motif that is across all of its songs, which is like that driving bass, do you think that's holding this Bowser Castle back from being better?
I would tentatively say yes. And simply because a lot of their songs are like that. And if you go back and listen to any sort of Mario Kart DS music that is... I mean, pick a track, right? Shroom Ridge, bass. Bowser's Castle, bass. Mario Kart DS has a lot of bass
in all of its songs.
And I do think it does hold it back a little bit in terms of being able to kind of let loose and be a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
It's weird, because I was going to say that DS, I think, is definitely better than Bowser's Castle 8, but I feel like because it's so repetitive and so kind of just, I don't know, uninspired, like, it's definitely faster, but I still feel
it's got a good beat, but its main melody is too slow.
Yeah. I'm going to put it underneath Mario Kart 8. This is the deviation, because we definitely had this one above, and we thought this one was actually pretty decent.
We thought this one was better than Mario Kart 8's in our first list, but this is our first deviation from that list.
Yeah, but still on B tier.
Yes. I would agree with that. I was kind of leaning in that direction already.
All right, so now we're going to get to our top 3 that we said was pretty good, which is Mario Kart 7's. Give it a listen.
It's just, the bass is there.
Yeah.
The bass is there again. But it majorly improves upon what DS failed at, which was having a good melody.
Yes.
I mean, the bass just doubles down. Oh,
the
it's
bass
so
doubles
good.
down, the electric guitars, the synth. I mean, it really feels like you're in a lava castle, and not only is it a race to get out and survive,
yeah,
but also at the same time you've got a little bit of fear, just like, I could die here,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's kind of got that perilous, dangerous nature.
Yeah, and they did that almost completely without the use of organs.
Yeah.
It's just the melody itself it strikes fear in you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's that little organ riff in there.
Yeah.
That's
Which
just perfect.
I personally think that detracts from the Mario Kart 7 theme a little bit, and I think that's why, at least in my mind, it doesn't go S tier.
Yeah.
It is, but other than that, it is a spectacular one, and I would have no problem listening to this
on repeat.
Yes.
For like your entire life.
I don't know if I would go that as far as saying, but yes.
I would. Nostalgia is driving me a little bit, but
I do have to say, though, quick deviation real quick. Mario Kart 7, of how that Bowser Castle is structured, it's amazing. Love that course.
You're talking about
so
the
much.
course itself.
Yes.
Yeah, the course is great.
And we'll get to that in a future podcast. So, there'll probably be a little like title card thing up in the top right, kind of showing like, hey, this is our other podcast thing. It'll be cool.
Okay.
It'll be in the top right. You look for it. You'll find it. Anyway, but it's just such a good... We'll talk about this later. But I think Mario Kart 7 definitely goes in A tier.
Yes.
It's definitely good. That little part at the beginning, I think, is a little hokey, so I think that's partly why it pulls it back. But otherwise, a great Mario Kart soundtrack.
Yes.
Now, number 2 on our ranking, we have Super Circuit.
Speaking of hokey.
Yes. This one definitely is a little bit more hokey. However, that kind of was the theme for Super Circuit.
Yes.
But it still took itself as like extreme, radical,
Yeah,
and
it's very surfer almost.
Yes, and it fit it so well. And I think this melody right here in the second part.
Yeah, this part saves it for me.
And it makes it so much better. Like, the electric guitars are already bumping, okay?
Yeah.
But, like, even this part right here, the heavy electric guitars.
Yeah, this is good.
I don't know. Like, this one, it's hard for
me. And then
because,
this part comes in.
Yes.
And it brings back a little bit of that fear.
Yeah.
You know, it's diverse. Like, unlike a lot of the songs in Mario Kart Super Circuit, where I feel like the whole theme of the game being kind of hokey and like a lot of electric guitars, I feel as though almost in every other track that pulls the song down.
Yeah.
Like with the Rainbow Road, which we'll get to in a little bit, with the snow courses sometimes, it sounds wrong because they're trying to push that theme too much.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's a perfect balance between the two.
Yeah.
Of like, yes, this is our identity as a game. This is what we're doing. We're hokey. We're electric guitar heavy.
Yeah.
But also, we're not going to forget that this is supposed to be a Bowser's Castle. So you put a little bit of that fear in there again with, I think, the violin synths.
Yeah. Well, it hits on all cylinders, at least in my mind. It checks off all the boxes. It hits you that fear. It's not too serious to the point where, or too creepy to the point where you're kind of like, okay, Bowser does have a son, so like, you know, for me, this is the quintessential Bowser Castle theme. Like, when I think of Bowser's Castle, this is what I think of in terms of this theme, and this is what I even think of. Like, it could easily be Bowser's theme, not even Bowser's Castle, but Bowser himself.
Okay, yeah, I get
like,
that.
This is like Bowser because he's angry, he's rageful, but at the same time, he's got kind of
a little goofy.
Yeah, he's a little goofy.
Yeah. He's a little dramatic too. He likes the dramatic entrances.
Yes, he does. But at heart, he's still a good father. So, gosh, okay, Super Circuit.
Is it?
Like part of me wants to put it in S tier. Another part of me wants me to put it below Mario Kart 7.
No, I'm gonna split the difference. I think that it is better than Mario Kart 7's, but it's still an A tier. And that leaves us with one true S tier inhabitant.
Yes.
Which is SNES Bowser's Castle. Whole 180 from the hokiness of Super Circuit.
Right.
This is unapologetically horrifying.
Yes.
Like those striking upper notes.
Yes.
Just like something straight out of a horror film's soundtrack.
Yes.
But it still has a driving beat, so it makes you feel like you're in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that this is the first Nintendo console, I feel like it has so much variation.
Yeah. Like, I feel like GameCube, N64, and even DS were too repetitive. Mm-hmm. And yet this one got it in one with probably, like, 1/4 the size of the audio files that it could contain.
Like the storage.
Yes.
Yeah, the storage size was probably tiny.
Yeah.
And it just, oh my gosh, it cooks.
I want to play it again.
It cooks so much. Like, I think the reason why we put this one so high is because, yes, it had so little to work with, but it excelled despite that.
Yes.
Like, the musical theory on this is so tight, and, like, every single little, like, bit that they're using is utilized perfectly in this song.
Yeah. I would argue that Super Mario Kart is probably holds the record for having, like, really good music.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it's the first one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, the Koopa Beach, like, the beach themes, the vanilla themes, the donut plains, like, those are all very iconic. And I understand it's the first one, so I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate in the comments of like, oh, it's the first one, it's
it's always new when it's the first one.
Yeah, but like, I seriously think that, to your point, Rogue, like, all of SNES's music had very little work with, very little audio storage, and yet it did so much with it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the perfect example of limitation breeds creativity.
Yes.
Like, a lot of people think that, like, a completely empty, massive canvas with limitless possibilities is the answer to all your creative blocks. It's not.
That's what creates modern art.
Exactly. Yeah, an empty canvas with endless possibilities is what creates modern art. Limitations is what really makes great art.
Yeah.
You see that in movies. You see it with sort of the degradation with the use of CG nowadays, is that they almost have too many things that they can do with CG now, so they don't utilize it as well as they used to, like way back in the 80s or the 90s.
Right.
And I think SNES is the perfect example of, they knew they had such a small storage size and that it was going to be so short and it was going to repeat so quickly that they had to make that theme something that was good.
Yeah.
So then when it repeated, you didn't even care because it's so catchy.
Yes. I honestly can't put it any better than that. So with that, we're definitely going to put SNES in the S tier. So that is our final ranking. As you can see, a quick recap: we put N64 and GameCube
In the D rank.
In the D rank. I'm pretty sure that we would put N64 in the F rank if we had one.
Yes.
And then in the C tier, we have... I don't even remember. It's probably... Oh, it's Wii.
Wii.
I'm sorry, Wii. I'm sorry for all you Wii fans out there.
It could have been great.
It could have been great. It had a lot of going for it, and then that end portion just kind of killed it with the violins that made it sound like a wedding song.
Yeah.
And then in the B tier, we didn't get much better.
No.
We had the DS, which was kind of like, it's okay. Like,
DS
honestly,
and Mario
like,
Kart 8.
Yeah, like, honestly, I probably would even degrade, like, the DS to the C tier.
Really? You would go that far?
No, I wouldn't, but I would think about it.
Do you think the DS is worse than Wii?
No. I don't think it's worse.
Think about that again.
Okay. We're going to stop before we get more controversial. But yeah, we have DS in B tier along with Mario Kart 8, which both missed it in terms of Mario Kart 8. They're both snappy, but Mario Kart 8 is too jazzy.
Yeah, it's too jazzy.
DS is definitely too repeatable.
Yeah.
And
then A tier, we got Super Circuit and Mario Kart 7, which I would argue are polar opposites because Mario Kart 7 is very dramatic and Super Circuit is very hokey.
Yeah.
But I feel like they both do well enough in both of those regards that they deserve to be in the A spot.
Yeah, because they established it. You know, it's almost like you have that cool kid who comes into school and you're like, you're so cringe, but yet somehow he makes his style, whether it be he's emo or something else, or like he's a jock or whatever, but like he pulls it off and it's like he's uniquely him and he just fits that style so well, and you're like, okay, like,
what are you talking about? Nobody has ever experienced this before.
No, I meant like you have somebody who's just like who has their identity and they know what it is and they do it so well that to the point where it's just like, I can't like label you like somebody else.
Yeah, like somebody who's very charismatic.
Yeah.
And that isn't a front for them.
No.
Like, that's just who they are. They are naturally a very charismatic person, and you can't help but have a good time when you're around them.
Yeah.
Because every time you have a conversation with them, it's just fun. That is what Mario Kart 7 and Super
Circuit.
Yeah, Super Circuit is.
Yes.
They're both just, they know what they are, and they're not putting up a front. That's just who they are.
Yes.
And they're fun to be around.
Exactly. And then SNES is just...
It's putting on a show.
It's unequivocally the best. Honestly. Yeah. Well, with that, we wrapped up our tier list. So thank you so much for watching... Or not really watching, I guess
tuning in.
Tuning in to our...
Using your ears instead of your eyes.
Yes.
You're probably on the toilet right now.
Don't call them out, okay? That's creepy. Anyway, thank you for listening to our podcast and our shenanigans and what we do here.
Shenanigans is what we do.
We're very shenanigan-y people.
Okay, shut up. Have a nice day.
Bye. Wait, I pressed the